Are you English?
No, I'm not English. Why?
No, because you, you are pretty.
Yes?
Yes.
All of them? Yes. Tell me, why is an accomplished foreign architect shoveling coal here in Philadelphia?
I'm afraid it is not so simple.
Those are the three highly nominated movies being nominated this year at the Academy Awards. Welcome to Talking About the Movies, as we're celebrating our 20th anniversary of reviewing the biggest new releases of the weekend, and we're going to get to those movies a couple days from now. But today, on this Thursday morning, it is 10 after 9. About 40 minutes ago, they announced the Academy Award nominations. As you can tell, I'm not used to being up this early in the morning, but I'm up just in time for the nominations to come out, so this is the perfect time to talk about the nominations as they're just fresh within the last hour. So this is something I did last year where I talked about my reactions to the Academy Award nominations. But this time around, I'm just seeing them for the first time. So I'll give you an idea of how I feel about the nominations going for this year. And like we did last year, we'll take a look at just the main awards in particular: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Actress, Supporting Actor, Supporting Actress, and also Best Animated Feature. So that's about Picture, Director, Actor, Actress, Supporting Actor, 7 nominations. So the 7 big nominations overall. I'll take a look at some of the other ones too and to discuss my thoughts on that one. So, yeah, it's early in the morning. I've just woken up within the last couple minutes. You can tell this is a shirt that I usually wear when I go to sleep. But, yeah, things that annoy me. But, not you folks out there, but just people in general. Which, you know what, it's true. This is an official Wheel of Fortune shirt, by the way. But, as you can tell, my voice is still trying to get going here. Like I said, I just woke up about 10-15 minutes ago, so with all that said, though, let's get to the nominations for this year's Academy Awards. This is my first time seeing them in general, so let's get right to it. Let's start with Best Picture. The nominees for Best Picture are Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. Now, unlike the last couple of years, I have not seen most of the Oscar nominees this year. I've seen a couple of them, and some of these on here have actually been movies I've talked about in the past, like Dune Part 2, Wicked, and of course Emilia Perez, which was one of my picks for the worst movies, honorable mentions for one of the worst movies from last year, and I'll delve more into why I don't like that movie, especially now that it's a 13 Oscar nominated film, but overall, not really any big surprises with the Best Picture category overall. I'm kind of glad to see that Dune Part 2 survived this. Wicked, not really much of a surprise. In fact, that's the better musical on this list here. But stuff like Anora, Complete Unknown, Conclave, The Brutalist, not really that much of a surprise that those movies made it on here. So, why do I hate Emilia Perez so much? I kind of delved into it a little bit in my worst movies of the year list, but the movie overall, like, it has a message to it. But it's the whole thing. If you haven't heard about Emilia Perez, it's about this Mexican cartel leader who enlists a lawyer to help her disappear by transitioning into a woman, and it's a film that has a message. I guess there's some kind of a message to it, but at the same time, it's also seen as it's a crime movie that's also kind of a musical too. But the music elements of it are so terrible. Like, the songs in this movie are just so bad. I showed you a little bit in the worst of the year list about the examples of it. You know, the guy singing, Zoe Saldana singing about, I'm here to talk about sex change operation. Just the way that they sing it, and just the way that they sing this song with some of the lyrics they have are so bad. Like, the dude is singing like man to woman, woman to man, from penis to vagina, and just the way that they're singing it, the way it's presented, is just like, it just irks me when I hear that song again. And the movie itself is just poor representation for the LGBTQ community, and it just feels like they're not. It feels more like it's just a really really bad representation of that of the LGBT community in general, and it's just like it shocks me that that a lot of people in the industry actually do kind of like it. Especially, it's like not just it's like names like James Cameron came up as people who really love this movie, and I'm just like, whoa, just like him. It's just like him, people I respect, like Denis Villeneuve, Emily Blunt, Meryl Streep, Guillermo del Toro, Michael Mann, like it's just wow, like all these people came out in support of this movie. It's just like, what the hell am I missing here? Like, nothing about this movie is great at all. I mean, there's nothing really that spectacular about it, but I mean, I don't know what I'm missing here. I'm not alone. A lot of people I've seen in reviews for this say the movie is absolutely terrible and should not have been even considered for this many awards. But yeah, the fact that it has so many people behind it, it makes me very, very scared that after the last couple of years where the Oscars actually picked some good winners for Best Picture, this one I think unfortunately might go back to the days of like Green Book, Coda, King's Speech as one of the worst Best Picture winners of all time. It just feels like we're going down that route here, but hopefully that isn't the case. But I don't know what else could really combat it. Maybe The Brutalist. But like I said, I haven't seen that movie yet, but I've heard a lot of great things about The Brutalist. Yeah, it's the one with Adrian Brody, he plays a Jewish Holocaust survivor who immigrates to the United States, where he struggles to achieve the American dream until a wealthy client changes his life. And like I said, I haven't seen the movie yet. I definitely want to check it out, though. So definitely one I'm looking forward to checking out pretty soon. So a couple of these other ones I want to see pretty soon. I want to see Anora. I've heard a lot of great things about Anora. Complete Unknown's one I've been wanting to check out. Conclave I've heard a lot of good things about. And The Substance, of course. So I'll have some time until the March 2nd show to check these movies out and give my full thoughts on these movies in particular. But not much more to say about that one. Not really much the category there. Not much really of a surprise in there. If there's anything that I think should have been considered Best Picture, it's mostly movies that people forgot about. Stuff like Saturday Night, and what was another one that I was hoping maybe we'd get a sneak in there, but I think that was it, because, they don't usually nominate animated movies as much anymore. As much as I would have loved Inside Out 2 or The Wild Robot to get a nomination for Best Picture, it just didn't feel like it was going to happen. But yeah, overall, Best Picture was not really much of a shocker. I'd heard these names so many times, and again, we're using 10 nominations again, so that's good to know. So that's Best Picture. Let's go ahead and move on to Best Actor in a Leading Role. So the nominees for Best Actor are... hold on one second here. Here we go. Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet for Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. Out of all the nominees, that was actually kind of surprising to see there. That was it right there. Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. That was one that people actually remembered, and especially now with Donald Trump president again, I was actually kind of surprised it actually made the list. I'd actually heard some pretty good reviews about the movie in general, but yeah, you don't think that's going to be a big talking point come Oscar night. But couple of movies that a couple of names on there that I was surprised did not get mentioned. Like Daniel Craig, I heard a lot of Oscar buzz for his work in Queer. Hugh Grant, I heard a lot of good things about for Heretic. Personally, I would have liked to see Gabriel LaBelle get nominated for Saturday Night, because I thought he was very good as Lorne Michaels. But again, that movie didn't do so well, unfortunately. But yeah, out of everything there, no real big surprises except for Sebastian Stan getting nominated for The Apprentice. If I had to pick which one's probably going to be the front runner for the Best Actor category, I'd probably say it's a close race between maybe Adrian Brody, Timothée Chalamet, and Ralph Fiennes. I think Chalamet, everyone wants to see him get an Oscar at some point, and I've heard a lot of good things about him as Bob Dylan. I think Ralph Fiennes has got a good shot at getting it. I think people want to give him another Oscar for his works before, and I've heard a lot of good things about Conclave overall. Plus, I think Conclave was also PG, which is a very rare thing for a movie like that to get a PG rating nowadays. I mean, especially with the rating system, how screwed up that is. But But yeah, nothing really that surprising overall in that category. And I wish I could go delve into more detail on these movies, but on these performances. But I haven't seen any of these movies. It's like I said before, this year was very unusual for the Oscar contenders. I didn't see a whole lot of them, but the ones that I did see the ones that are the ones I think so far should be the winners right now. But as we get close to the Oscars, I'll definitely have time to check all these movies out in general. But I think it's a three-man race right now between Fiennes, Brody, and Chalamet. Good to see they nominated Coleman Domingo, because I think he's a really great actor overall. And, he just got cast in The Running Man. He was also in The Color Purple last year. I mean, really good actor overall. Definitely looking for... I'm definitely looking... What am I definitely looking forward to? I'm about to talk about, like, talking about a big movie Scott coming up. But I'm glad to see he got another nomination here, So, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to Best Actress. The nominees for Best Actress are Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madsen for Nora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. And of all the ones that I've seen in this category, Demi Moore's not Demi Moore, Cynthia Erivo is the one I've seen for Wicked. And I thought she was very good in Wicked. Of the surprises, there's a couple names that came to mind over the Oscar buzz that I'm really surprised did not get into this category. Specifically, Zendaya for Challengers, Angelina Jolie for Maria. Maybe the biggest one of all. The one I thought maybe there's a chance she'd get in there, but Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl. I heard a lot of great things about The Last Showgirl. heard everything about how, this was the movie that was going to give her an opportunity to get the Oscar nomination. There was kind of this buzz about her coming back into form. She's doing the Naked Gun reboot with Liam Neeson coming up later in the year, but just missed out. She just missed out on there, and a couple other names that I was kind of surprised were not in there. Kate Winslet was up for this movie. Lee was up. She didn't get nominated. Nicole Kidman, everyone was buzzing about her, but I've heard a lot of great things about most of the nominees here. I've heard Demi Moore is fantastic in The Substance, and I think that would be really good if she ends up winning that Oscar for Best Actress. I think she's the front runner right now. I think it would be great if Cynthia Erivo won for Wicked, because I thought she was great as Elphaba. Mikey Madsen, I've heard a lot of good things about her and Anora, and of course Amelia Perez, Carla Sofia Gascon, but and Fernanda Torres. Like I said, the only one I've seen out of all those right now is Wicked, but I think judging by the buzz I've heard about it right now, I think it's a three-man race right now. It's a three-woman race right now with it's a two-woman race right now between Demi Moore and Cynthia Erivo. But I think Demi Moore is probably going to win it, and I think it should be deserved after the years she's had where she's been really good. She was great in Feud, Capote versus the Swans, and I just heard nothing about great things about her in The Substance. So that's one I'm definitely really looking forward to checking out pretty soon. So, but yeah, most of the list here not really much of a surprise, but there were some notable movies in here that probably should have been nominated, but unfortunately didn't get the final final notice on there. But there's some good nominations in here for Best Actress. Let's go ahead and move on to Best Supporting Actor. The nominees for Best Supporting Actor are Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, Yura Borisov for Anora, and again, The Apprentice getting some Oscar love. Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. So you got two actors from Succession in the Best Supporting Actor category. And believe it or not, I think Kieran Culkin is actually the front runner in this category. But he's in some good company. He's got Edward Norton, who I heard some good things about him in A Complete Unknown, and Guy Pearce. Like I said, I haven't seen Anora, but I've heard a lot of good things about that one. And again, I haven't seen any of the movies in here, so unfortunately, I can't really delve into the how much I like these movies in general, because I haven't seen all of them. So, but I've heard a lot of good things about all these movies. I've heard that Kieran Culkin is really good in The Real Pain, with the film written by Jesse Eisenberg, who didn't get nominated for Best Actor, but he did get a Best Original Screenplay nomination. I think he is the frontrunner right now. I think that would be very interesting to see that. Plus, like I said, two guys from Succession got nominated for Best Supporting Actor this year, which I think is really interesting, since that show was such a successful Emmy winner. And I think Kieran Culkin's got several awards. I think Jeremy Strong's got an award too for that. But again, I wish I could go into some more detail on these, but like I said, I gotta see these movies before I can really delve into how I feel about these awards about the nominations in general here. But not much more to say about that one. So let's go ahead and move on to Best Supporting Actress. Actually, before we get to Best Supporting Actress, there's one name in particular for Best Supporting Actor that I completely forgot to throw in there as a shock that he didn't make it in there. But Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2 did not make it into the final 5. And I thought that was the sure walk that Denzel Washington would be up for a nomination in that category. But he wasn't in there. That's a shame because he really was the best thing about that terrible movie, that pointless sequel that nobody was asking for. And yet he was not in there, which is genuinely shocking to me. But then again, Gladiator 2 was a film that didn't need to exist. But hey, Denzel Washington, the greatest actor we have right now, I feel like he should have gotten a nomination there. So that's a name that I was surprised was passed up on that list. But anyway, let's get to Best Supporting Actress. And the nominees are Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, and Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown. And some notable names that were kind of seen the Oscar buzz going into this. Jamie Lee Curtis, who had not won it 2 years ago for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think a lot of people were shocked that Selena Gomez wasn't in there for Emilia Perez. Who else is in there? That was kind of a shocker. Margaret Qualley for The Substance. I heard a lot of good things about her in the movie. September 5th. That's a movie that a lot of people were really expecting that to be a frontrunner for the Oscars, and for some reason, Paramount's kind of buried the movie, and it didn't really make much of an impact at the Oscars in general. It did not, it wasn't nominated for Best Picture. It wasn't nominated for any of the big categories. It got a Best Original Screenplay nomination, but that's it, I think. Let me see. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. That's the only nomination it got, which is genuinely shocking. And there was a couple performances in there that were seen as kind of buzzy Oscar nominations, possibly, but not. But it was never. But I guess it was never meant to be. But yeah, in terms of who I think the frontrunner is going to be, everyone's pointing to Emilia Perez with Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez, and I like Zoe Saldana a lot. She's proven that can be a really good actress in terms of these dramatic roles and also in these big budget action movies. And to her credit, she's one of the best things about Emilia Perez. So I guess if she wins Best Supporting Actress, I'm not going to be bothered by it too much. But I just wish it was in a better movie. But Ariana Grande getting a nomination for Best Supporting Actress for Wicked, I thought that was great. I mean, you watch Wicked, and you see the commercials on TV with her and Cynthia Erivo talking about how they were destined to play these roles. But they show it on screen that they were really destined to play these roles, and their chemistry together is just so pitch perfect, so well done. Like, I'm glad that they both got nominated. And I really want to see them both win. I want to see Wicked really do better at the Oscars than Emilia Perez, but sadly, I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. I feel like Wicked is going to go down the same path that Barbie did in last year's Oscars, where it got all the nominations, but it's not going to get as many Oscars as it should, which it's a shame because I really do like that movie a lot. But in terms of the frontrunner for this category, like I said, I think it's going to be Zoe Saldana who takes this one, but I'd be really glad if Ariana Grande wins it. And with that said, let's go ahead and move on to Best Director. And the nominees for Best Director are Sean Baker for Anora, Brady Corbett for The Brutalist, James Mangold for A Complete Unknown, Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, and Coralie Farguet for The Substance. And first-timers all across the board here. I think the one that's kind of surprising that didn't get a nomination, a couple come to mind. Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2, John Chu for Wicked. But in terms of some surprises on here, not just really with the nominations, but in terms of people who made these movies, like the director of The Brutalist is Brady Corbett. I had no idea that was Alan Tracy from that terrible 2004 Thunderbirds movie. But hey, I mean, how about that? 20 years later, you go from starring in one of the worst adaptations of a kid's TV show to becoming an Oscar-nominated director. And he joined a list of people that most of them could end up being winners, and they all could end up winners in that category, obviously. But if there's one name on here that I'm kind of surprised didn't make the list, a couple names in particular come to mind. Like I said, Denis Villeneuve, John Chu, and Edward Berger for Conclave. Conclave, I heard, was getting a lot of buzz going into the Oscars, and I thought that director who also did All Quiet on the Western Front, which I really like that movie a lot. I'm actually really surprised he didn't get nominated in that category. But yeah, the list overall here, if I had to see which one's a front runner right now, tough to say, because I think maybe I'm just going with the buzz I'm hearing. Amelia Perez is getting all this buzz, so I wouldn't be surprised if Jacques Audiard gets the front runner talk. But James Mangold is somebody who I think deserves an Oscar for his work in the past. He's done a lot of great movies. Walk the Line. I just talked about 3:10 to Yuma yesterday on Time About the Movies, and I liked Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I'm that one person out there who actually liked Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. But this is like a movie that is surely back in form for him in terms of getting back into the fold of critically acclaimed movies. So I hope he gets an Oscar in one day. Hopefully it'll be this year. Sean Baker, Corey Fargett, Brady Corbett. Overall, I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be disappointed at all of who wins in this category. I just wish it wasn't Amelia Perez, but I don't think it's going to change my thoughts on it, because I don't vote for the Oscars, and the industry loves it. So that just tells you that gives you that's all you need to know about that one. But again, that's Best Director overall. So let's go ahead and take a look at the last of the categories I want to put the focus on here, and that is Best Animated Feature Film. And the nominees for Best Animated Feature Film are Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. Again, no real surprises here whatsoever. I'm kind of glad to see Moana 2 didn't get an animated feature film nomination. I feel like that's one they would have been kind of forced to put in there because of how successful the first Moana movie did. But that movie was not that great overall. But in terms of ones that I'm kind of surprised didn't make the final cut, two come to mind. One is The Day the Earth Blew Up, the Looney Tunes movie, which is more of kind of a disappointment, because that was a movie that, even though it's not been released in the States yet, it was technically still considered for Oscar consideration this year, and that was one where a lot of people, I think, were really hoping that the film would get some early buzz before that February 28th release. I mean, I'm still looking forward to checking the movie out, but still a little disappointed that didn't get a nomination. Maybe the biggest disappointment of an animated feature film that didn't get the nomination, I feel like should have gotten one. Piece by Piece comes to mind, a movie that unfortunately bombed. I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't get nominated. And Transformers 1, I know it was going to be a long shot for Transformers 1. I thought Piece by Piece had definitely a better shot at it, but I don't know. I mean, I was hoping maybe it gets some buzz going forward, but kind of like with Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem the year before, it's just really hard to nominate those type of franchises for these big awards. I mean, yeah, I know Spider-Man got nominated for its 2 animated movies before in the past, but Wallace and Gromit kind of is an obligation to get nominated because of the success they've had. Inside Out, they've won Best Animated Feature in the past, so not really much of a surprise those got nominated, but I was really disappointed that, Piece by Piece and Transformers 1 didn't get the nominations they deserved, and it's a shame, because those are 2 really damn good movies that came out last year that a lot of people kind of just pushed to the side in general, and it's just, yeah, I was kind of bummed those didn't get nominated. But overall, the Best Animated Feature category has a lot of movies that I have seen. I did see Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul. I think it's great, and I think it's an early contender for one of the best movies of this year, 2025, because it technically came out here in 2025, so it's going to be on the list. 2 of my favorite movies of the year, Inside Out 2 and The Wild Robot, are in that category too. It's a 2-man race right now. I would love to see The Wild Robot win, but I feel like this is Inside Out 2's baby to lose. If The Wild Robot wins, I'll be glad. If Wallace and Gromit, if that wins, I'm not going to be too sad about that. I'm going to be a little disappointed if Flow or Memoir of a Snail wins, because I haven't seen those movies, and I've heard a lot of good things about Flow. But, The Wild Robot is probably the one I want to see win the most. But if Inside Out 2 or Wallace and Gromit wins, I'm not going to be too saddened about that. So, So that is the Best Animated Feature category, and that's the 7 major awards I kind of wanted to delve deeper into. Now, in terms of the other categories here, again, no real surprises here whatsoever. Nothing really that is in terms of like the screenplay categories, movies that I kind of figured were going to be in there, like Anora, The Brutalist, The Substance, A Complete Unknown, Amelia Perez. Those got nominations there. If there's any movie on here that I'm really glad to see get nominations here. I'm glad to see that the score for The Wild Robot got nominated for Best Original Score. Chris Bowers did a great job with the score on that. Elton John got nominated for the Disney Plus documentary Never Too Late. Glad to see that he got nominated there. Maybe the one I'm kind of the most excited to see is Best Visual Effects, because they have nominees Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. And I'm glad to see Better Man getting some Oscar consideration. This is a movie I want to see. I've heard of so many people bad-mouthing the movie and just talking shit about it before everyone's talking about, who's this Robbie Williams guy? It's like, who's this Robbie Williams guy they keep talking about? Like, what? It's just like, like they're talking more about who Robbie Williams is instead of actually talking about the movie itself, which I've heard nothing but great things about in general, and I kind of want to see the movie for myself, but it hasn't been playing around here, unfortunately. That's why I haven't had a review for it yet, because it hasn't been playing around here yet, and this is what I'm unfortunately going to have to wait for it to come out on home video at some point. But I do think that also it's kind of funny that the 2 movies with monkeys at the focal point of the film, Better Man and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, got nominated for Best Visual Effects. I thought that was actually pretty funny to see that. But and honestly, Better Man probably has an opportunity to win it. I mean, if people really are suckered into that Robbie Williams as this monkey, I think that could be a big thing going for that advantage going for that film in general. But that one, I think it's going to be that one probably is one Wicked probably wins. Visual effects in there were pretty good. Alien Romulus, I'm glad to see got in there, because there were some great gritty, dark moments in that particular movie that worked because of the visuals and how well they put that, they mix practical and CG effects in there pretty well. And of course, Doom Part 2 has a lot of great visual effects too. That's one of the more intriguing ones there. Very interesting category there indeed. But other than that, though, everything else here kind of is not really anything too shocking overall here. Of course, we got a lot of stuff for the production design, visual effects, makeup, costuming. Film editing too. That's interesting. Sound. Of course, they were nominated for the score. Actually, I don't think, did Wicked have any original songs in there? I was actually kind of surprised that. No, I guess not. Maybe not. I'd have to watch it again. I don't think there was any original songs there. Looking at this list here, one movie I'm kind of surprised didn't get that much of an Oscar buzz for it, even though it's one of the biggest surprise hits of the Christmas season, was Nosferatu. Nosferatu didn't get a whole lot of acting nominations overall, but it did get I think it got 4 nominations for production design, cinematography, makeup and hairstyling, and costume design. Is that all of them, or was there 1, 2, 3? Yeah, just those. Cinematography, costume design, production design, and makeup and hairstyling. Even though that's the highest grossing film for Robert Eggers, the buzz in that movie was so high. It's a movie I wanted to check out too, but I'm actually kind of surprised that did not make the big awards contenders overall. That's one that probably should have been considered in there, considering how successful that's been. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the Oscar nominations coming out, and so far I'm kind of underwhelmed, but again, it's mostly because I haven't seen most of the nominated films, so I have at least a good 6 weeks before we get to the Academy Awards, so I can really see these films in general, and also get a good idea of, how I feel about these movies coming up. But yeah, so that's overall right now, my thoughts on them is just not surprising, but also kind of a little underwhelmed, but again, I got to see these movies, and I've got all the time to see it. The next 6 weeks is going to be packed by checking these movies out. But I'll see what happens. I'll see what happens going forward. Maybe my thoughts change on these movies. Maybe I'll find an appreciation for Amelia Perez that I'm not seeing from everybody else. But well, then again, not a lot of people really don't like that movie. But but it's still getting all the nominations. But this has mostly been about this thing's been mostly about me bashing Amelia Perez, which I'm sorry, that movie isn't good. I'm sorry, it's not an entertaining film whatsoever. But enough Amelia Perez bashing. I'll save that for my written review. I'm going to do a written review for movies in my collection coming up in a couple weeks from now. But one last thing I do want to bring up, though, is what about the Reviewing Network Awards? Because I usually do this around Oscar time. And yes, the nominations will be coming out just like last year on Super Bowl weekend. So either February 8th or 9th, I'll put the nominations out there. And then the show will be the night before the Oscars on Saturday, March 1st. So be sure to check that out on this channel when that comes out. But with all of that said, thank you so much for watching this with me reacting to the Oscar nominations. And I wish I had a more uplifting reaction for you. Well, it's mostly because A, it's early in the morning for me, and B, I haven't seen most of the nominated films, so I have a lot of work to get to here. But with all of that said, thank you so much for watching this. Let me know your thoughts down below on the Oscar nominations. What do you think about them in general? Do you agree with me on some of my thoughts on the nominees? But do you agree that there were some films and performances that should have gotten consideration? But let me know down below. And if you like what you saw, check out my review of Wolfman in One of Them Days. And also check out the playlist below. And hit the like button, subscribe button, notification button, and the bell. That's how you know when new videos come out, because we do post every day. And I will be back on Sunday with another Talking About the Movies, giving you reviews for Mel Gibson's Flight Risk, and also Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul. So with all that said, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care.